Hello, hello, and welcome. We're in New York. We're at Rizzoli Bookstore, and we're chatting with the very talented Imbolo Mbue. She's going to be talking to us about, I'm sure I've pronounced that incorrectly, but you can say your name if you like. We're actually talking to her about her debut novel, Behold the Dreamers. Now, firstly, can you introduce yourself? Because you will do it better than I did.
Yes. Hi, Sherry. Hi, everybody. My name is Imbolo Mbue, and I am the author of the novel Behold the Dreamers.
She certainly is the very talented author of Behold the Dreamers. Now, tell us a little bit about writing and how long you've been writing.
I've been writing for about 14 years. I started writing in 2002 after I read a wonderful novel by Toni Morrison called Song of Solomon.
Oh, so wonderful that novel is.
I was so inspired by it. I started writing immediately. I finished reading it.
Yeah. And then had you had the idea in your head and then thought about putting it into writing, or would that process came hand in hand?
Are you talking about this specific novel or just writing in general?
Writing in general.
No, I mean, when I started writing, I didn't have any particular thing in mind. I just started writing about an African girl in an African village because I was born in a village, and I was just so inspired to write something, a story like my story, because I was so inspired by this story Toni Morrison wrote about this African American man. So I thought, wow, it would be very interesting to write a story about myself also, about somebody like myself.
So where are you from originally?
I am from Cameroon. I'm from the southwest region of Cameroon, and I was born in a village in that part of Cameroon.
And is storytelling and writing, is that something that you grew up with, or was
not writing? No.
No, just storytelling.
I read a lot because I was thankful. It was great. I grew up around books, but storytelling, yes. I come from a very big storytelling tradition. We didn't have books, but we sat around in the evening telling each other stories.
Yeah, because I found that. I mean, I'm working with a young man called Majok Tulba. He's from the Sudan. He's now in Australia. He's an Australian, and he grew up storytelling. And it was for him, the idea was in his head, and then the writing was the next step for him.
No, it wasn't. I mean, I wasn't so much interested in telling a story so much as I was about writing and learning how to write.
Yes.
Because this book by Toni Morrison was so excellent. It was so wonderfully written, and I said to myself, wow, imagine what it would be like to write. To write this well. So I was more in pursuit of being a really, really excellent writer and trying to write as well as I can write. And the story was a bit secondary. I mean, with my novel, the story was maybe more, primary, because I had a story in mind first. But when I started writing, it was more about the art of writing, about the joy of writing.
All right. Well, tell us about Behold the Dreamers. Tell us about that story.
Yeah, well, Behold the Dreamers is a novel about two New York City families. One family is a very wealthy Upper East Side family. Upper East Side is a neighborhood in New York City where very wealthy people live. And this family, they have, the kids go to very good private schools. They have a house in the Hamptons, a vacation home, and the father in this family is an executive at Lehman Brothers. And then the other family is a working class immigrant family from Cameroon, and they're hoping to one day get papers so that they can stay in America, and they're trying to get an education. And then the father in this family gets a job as a chauffeur for the Lehman Brothers executive and his family. So the novel is about the interaction of the lives of these two very different families, very different backgrounds, socioeconomic status, races, cultures, and when their lives intersect, what happens, and also the ways in which the recession affected their lives.
Yeah, it's a really interesting story of how you meld those two, not just cultures, but experiences. This is a difficult city to live in, whether you're rich or whether you're poor or whether you're an immigrant or whatever it is.
It is.
And how much of, in this story, Behold the Dreamers, is your life experience?
Well, I am from the same town as a Cameroonian immigrant, the town of Limbe. Yeah. It's a little beautiful seaside town in Cameroon, and so these characters are from my town. So in a way, I put a bit of myself in there, and unlike them, I also lived in Harlem. I also was an African immigrant living in Harlem, and I also, went through immigrant struggles like poverty. I really got to know what it's like to be poor, to be poor in America, and it's quite difficult.
It is very, very hard, isn't
Yes.
it? Yeah. So rumour has it that your first book sold for $1 million at Frankfurt Festival. Congratulations! That could just be the highest accolade that any writer could get. So that's an accolade in itself, but also too the reviews of those books of the book have been tremendously. I guess flowing in terms of you are about to be one of the greatest writers of our time. You are making a statement of this, but you are.
I do not read reviews. I just, I think for me it's good to distance myself from the reviews and from the news and what other people think. I enjoy talking about the book. I do, and even if I meet somebody and they have, Imbolo, I didn't like this. I enjoyed it, but I think reviews and critics, that's a whole different, place that I'm not ready to go to. I think I wrote a book about people like myself, about what it's like to be an immigrant in America, about the struggles of an immigrant life, and it is not a new subject. This subject has been explored by many different writers. I mean, I love the work of Frank McCourt. He wrote about being an Irish immigrant.
Yes, absolutely.
Jhumpa Lahiri he writes about being an Indian American. He writes about that. She writes about that. So I love that living home and searching for a new home. It's been my story, and so I think it's a great privilege that my story and some people are connecting with the story. It means a lot to me.
Yeah, and they're connecting with the story, and it's also they're connecting with you as a writer because you have written so well.
Oh, thank you.
I can't thank you enough for joining us today.
Thank you.
I really, really appreciate it. The book will be out in Sydney very shortly as well.
Yeah, I think August 23rd.
On August 23rd, you'll be able to get yourself a copy of Behold the Dreamers. Thank you so much, Imbolo, for joining us today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you,
and thank you to our Better Reading readers. Make sure you grab yourself a copy of Behold the Dreamers. Okay.
Goodbye, Better Reading readers.
Thank you.